Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 22nd meeting of the Glasgow Electric Plant Board, and spring has sprung. So,
As of yesterday.
what's that?
As of yesterday.
Yes, as of yesterday.
First day of
It's
spring.
beautiful. First item of business is the approval of the agenda published.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And the minutes, electronic copy of the minutes were mailed out. We've got a hard copy in front of us. Chair will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as mailed.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to.
Second.
All right. Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next agenda item is ratifying the actions the programming committee made.
Yeah, and so if you want me to just kind of go through what those actions were, there were really two items that were, two action items that were taken at the programming committee. And the first was to approve continuing the relationship with the Weather Channel. You see on the minutes from that meeting, you'll see the rates on the table at the top. For the rest of 2022, the rate per subscriber is 20 cents. And then it's a 2-cent increase for 2023, 22 cents, 23 cents in 2024, and 25 cents in 2025. So the recommendation of the programming committee is to accept the terms of the new agreement with the Weather Channel and recommend to the board for approval. That was the first item, and we just did receive notice that NCTC has in fact signed the agreement with the Weather Channel and it's ready for companies like us to then adopt that agreement. We have until April 30th to sign the new agreement. The second item was to reboot the Channel 6 program, Faces and Places, and also along with that presentation, some sponsorship rates for the program were proposed. And the cable committee recommended to approve the renewal of Faces and Places program on Channel 6 along with the sponsorship rates as presented. So those were the two items that came out of the cable committee and are recommended to be ratified by this board.
And it looks like both of those actions were unanimously
Yep.
voted on.
And is there any other questions on either one?
I'll make a motion that we accept the program committee's recommendation.
I'll second that motion.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Superintendent, you have the floor.
All right, so first, just the update on the fuel cost adjustment for April, and it's coming in at 2.324 cents per kilowatt hour, and that is up from 2.027 cents per kilowatt hour in March, so an increase of 3/10 of a cent. What we're seeing is rates are continuing to trend higher than the 3-year average. This April fuel rate is 37% higher than the 3-year average has been. I would say that the 3-year average is probably slightly depressed, and now we're seeing the swing the other way where fuel costs are slightly higher than what you normally would expect for a number of different reasons. Commodity prices are high right now. We've got, there's a number of things that are affecting the gas and coal rates right now, and that drives the cost higher. The one item that I guess I would like the board to know is that the way that TVA hedges their fuel costs, we're not going to see the full impact of the swings that you see in the commodity markets. Most of their power supply is hedged. The issue will come if as those hedges kind of roll off and they have to re-hedge for the future, and if commodity prices stay high, then we're going to continue to see, increases on the fuel adjustment clause. Now, if this is a bump in the road and the trends are back down, we'll see a trend back down. So, but even though the commodity prices are going crazy, we're not going to see that same amount of significant fluctuation in the fuel cost adjustment. So that's that. And then the Audits Report. In February, we had 9 basically outages, and that's what the first one shows compared to 6 last year in February and 8 the year before. Kind of an interesting, for some reason this particular February we had a number of equipment failures, and they weren't major equipment failures. They were still considered equipment, but most of them were just the cutouts, which are like a single phase, holds a fuse and it's mounted on the pole. We had, I think, 3 of those broke, and then there was one other equipment issue, a transformer failed. So it just caused a number of outages. Wind might have had something to do with it in one case, but and then 3 squirrels, and one was I think the tree trimmers accidentally dropped a branch on the line as they were trimming a tree. That was the other. So nothing too significant there. And then finally, after the tornado hit West Kentucky, and we helped out a lot, and since then we've had a lot of conversations with Mayfield and Bowling Green on some of the things that they went through, and we're in the process of updating really our large outage plan. And one of the first items really to update were the names. The last time there was a plan in place, but it was put in place probably 3 or 4 years ago, and so some of the names have changed and the responsibilities have changed, and so that's the first step. The other item that we are going to work on updating is really, we have a full, I didn't give you a copy of it, but we really have a plan for a lot of different scenarios, whether it be active shooter or tornado. It might be any number of identifying where all the fire extinguishers are, and really just people knowing where to congregate if something happens to this building, and so on. And we'll work on updating that and then present it to the board to have an interactive session, I would anticipate, on what our outage management plan is going to be. When we dealt with the outage that we saw because of the tornado that didn't really hit us directly, but caused us to lose power that night, I think we responded extremely well because everyone knows what they're supposed to do, but we want to make sure that it's documented very well with who's supposed to do what in case it becomes a more significant outage where we're dealing with something like Bowling Green did. We know the contractors that, we have all this listed where we know which contractors we're going to call. If we need to call in outside resources, we know who's going to be responsible for what, and instead of trying to decide on the fly. And a lot of that is in place, but we're refreshing it. What happened last December was a good reminder for us that don't get complacent on those sorts of things. So that's really all I have for the superintendent reports. And then I think next month we're going to present how we not only donate to what is the entity that the entities that we donate? Yeah, community relief. We're looking at how we'll present it at the next board meeting, but just to make you aware, we're going to look at possibly changing the way we donate some of that money. The dollar amount's going to be similar, or the same, I guess, but just looking at a different way of dividing up amongst those agencies. So that's something that we'll have for the next meeting. So that's all I had.
Does the the plant board have any input on where that money's used, or once we make the donation, is that up to?
We made
There-
an agreement with them that it had to be used for our electric customers.
Okay.
But as far as the individual customers.
Or the criteria
we don't.
or anything?
Right, they take care of all, that's one of the reasons we sent it to them, because they already had that in place.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably the main point to emphasize, is that to not have that responsibility, within these four walls.
We don't want that.
Right.
Okay.
So we're donating a certain amount for them to decide on how to best
Yeah,
have
Mark,
it serve the community.
Mark, I think right now, it's just when she says customers of our service, I think it's just used to help them with the electric
Right.
bills, not anything else.
Yeah.
So donate it to the different agencies,
Really.
but they allow customers to use it to pay the electric bill, not for some other type of
Not for internet
expense.
or cable.
Okay.
And recently, we had a local business make a nice donation to that same cause, basically, to help our electric customers. It was a one-time donation that they told us to use the money however we saw fit, and to help our electric customers that have trouble paying their bill.
Is air conditioning deemed as much a necessity as heat? Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to the electric bill, it's sort of whatever they use it for, I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay.
I don't know if does the state of Kentucky consider it that, like, in Michigan, you don't cut off electric customers in certain winter months.
Right. We don't do it by the month, we do it in extreme temperature conditions. So we have that posted on our website. If it's above a certain temperature in the summer, we won't disconnect. And the same thing, if it's below 32 degrees in the winter, we don't disconnect.
Okay.
Unless they're a prepaid customer, and then those rules don't apply.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all that I have.
Next item, is there any new or old business to come before the board?
I don't have any.
In that case, I move that we adjourn.
Well, second.
All right. Aye.